No holding down this endless ride. I'll be drifting with the clouds so high, soaring where the eagles fly. With open roads ahead, I'm feeling so grand. Barefoot on the grass, no trace in the sand. I've got the will to stand and not just survive. In freedom's hand, that's how I thrive. Don't chain this heart, let it roam. Spirit free where it flies home. Here comes power from my soul. Baby, watch me take control. Dancer in the light, moving with the tide. This is where I come alive. Baby, you can't take my stride. Catching dreams like they're fireflies. In my hands they light the skies. Don't you try to box me in. Life's a game, I'm set to win. Winds of change, they call my name. I'm a wildflower, not a frame picture frame. Breaking chains with every stride. In liberty's embrace, that's where I find my pride.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to an edition of Figuratively Speaking. Tonight, I want to discuss Bash at Berlin. I'm late to the game on Bash at Berlin. I watched it finally on Tuesday night. What an amazing show that they had. WWE performed an amazing show at Bash at Berlin on Saturday. I do believe that it was 2 nights. Could be wrong. But the matches that I watched that I was more in tune to was, of course, Gunther versus Randy Orton. Hell of a match. Another match that I was really into to see was the Terror Twins, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest versus Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom got done dirty in there for all the dirty deeds he's done. And then my other match that I wanted to watch was CM Punk versus dagnabbit, I cannot remember the dude's name. The Scottish dude, Drew McIntyre. And oh my God. And even what happened Monday Night Raw, Drew McIntyre went off the hinges and just annihilated CM Punk. I thought that was funny. So I want to get into those and let's just have some fun talking about some good old-fashioned wrestling. I'm getting to the chat. And, what I do? There it is. Hello, Jamie. Thank you for being here. Motu Joneser, hello. Thank you for being here. Radical Mom, hello. Thank you for being here. Master Mike's Universe, thank you for being here. Going through. All Music Fan 88, thank you for being here, sir. So, the gang is all here. I've noticed some weird things going on with StreamYard as well, as they had a new update where you can make your camera a circle and some other silly shit like that. But anyway, uh, they've got a new dark mode, and I prefer to have all my stuff in dark mode because the glare of the light kind of hurts my eyes. So anyway, Cody Rhodes and KO, Kevin Owens. That's where the matches started, I guess, for the second night. Anyway, that match I was expecting something different from Kevin Owens. I wanted to see Kevin Owens uh, come back to being what Kevin Owens was 7 years ago. Now, mind you, Kevin Owens had not been in a title match in 7 years. And he really didn't want to take this match unless that was scripted. But either way, Kevin Owens, he had chances to take advantage of Cody Rhodes, and he failed to really do that. And I guess call it your friendship. But I know how I am on a business level. It's all about business. Damn the friendship at that point, because you're talking about you are first of all talking about a title shot, and whatever that may have construed, whether he wanted it or not, wanted the title shot or not, felt like he deserved it, felt like he didn't deserve it. Kevin Owens should have done everything. He greatly took time out, and hesitation. Hesitation is a killer. Master Mike says Kevin Owens to me was never interesting. To me, kind of flat. Um, I'm definitely going to have to disagree with that, Mike. Kevin Owens, when he first came to the WWE, he was definitely all about business. He was in your face. He was everything that the WWE needed, wanted, whether he was big bodied or built bodied. Um, he just hasn't been that. I don't know where Kevin Owens' head is at. He's got to pull that stuff together. Let's see. All Music Fan 88 says don't know a thing about wrestling, so I am going to just learn from you all. and you know what? That's okay. That's okay. All Music. I've watched wrestling from a very, very, very young age. I was brought up wrestling at the Chase here in St. Louis. One of the few territories in the Midwest. Uh, an excellent time and place to learn about the wrestling business, and get to know about the business. Jamie is an expert here. She could be. She could be. Yeah, Joneser says, "Yeah, we can be friends again after I beat your ass." Exactly. You know that's the way us Gen Xers did it back in the day, and they're part of that revelation. So, or generation, whatever you want to call it. Jamie says, "Mike, don't tell Emily that she would be very upset with you." I missed something, I think. Mike, you are absolutely right. It is definitely all about the draw. Cash is everything, especially in WWE, particularly any part of the wrestling business. Cash is key. Uh, Kevin Kevin used to sell. He sold when he first came. About mid through his career till today, he has been a minimal uh, cash flow bringer to the brand. Um, I just got to say that if Kevin Owens comes back strong from this to becoming what Kevin Owens was when he first came, he will bring. I think he will bring money to the business. I think he definitely could be a leading wrestler. Mike says, I don't hate the guy, just not my cup of tea. I get it. I have a few of those myself. Um, I'll specifically state it, jumping ahead uh, to Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, Dirty Dom, and Liv Morgan. I know you and I don't see eye to eye on Liv Morgan either. But Jay Uso, the Usos have not been money bringers either in singles competition. Um, Jay Uso definitely needed the help of his brother. Uh, and at the end of the day, there was a very heartfelt message in the ring from his brother that everything that's good that has happened in Jay Uso's career at this point was because of his brother, and I greatly agree with that. Um, what can I say on that? I just don't see the Usos as single competition bringing any money in by themselves. Now, with him possibly forming with the Terror Twins, um, who knows? Let's see. John, it's great for us to disagree. It'll make for a show of. Yes, I totally agree. Um, Radical Mom says I don't know much either, but it's interesting to learn. Yeah, the wrestling business is is one of those entities that at the end of the day, uh, you can learn a lot from because there is a lot of uh, ins and outs to the wrestling business. And it doesn't matter what stage you're on in the wrestling business. You could be AWE, you could be TNA, you could be in the indie circuits, you could be New Japan Pro Wrestling, uh, you could be any of these different sponsored events. And at the end of the day, you're either going to learn how to build upon your character that you are portraying on screen. Um, Mike and I disagree on Liv Morgan with the fact that it does seem that to him it seems that everybody kind of slows down their pace to get to where Liv Morgan is. I don't see Liv Morgan holding the title very long. I will agree on that. She's got a lot to learn. Um, Again, I was watching a video about Liv Morgan last week. That girl needs to put the fucking pot down, pardon my mouth, and get a clear head and to find out where she's at in the industry, for real. But she's got potential. Um, However, at the end of the day, Rhea Ripley for the women's division, amazing. Um, let's not forget about Jade Cargill. Let's not forget about her tag team partner that they just won the women's tag team champions championship. Uh, Freaking phenomenal match. It's I'm real happy to see that the women's division is getting the notoriety that they need, that they have deserved for a very, very long time, and had not gotten that notoriety under the reigns being held by Vince McMahon. The women's division, they were all pretty much held as eye candy. They have a lot of potential. They've had a lot of potential and a whole lot of talent that was wasted under Vince McMahon. Adam from Radical Toys, thank you for being here, sir. I appreciate that. Let me see. Going through. Mike says, I agree. The Usos and singles, as singles, they suck. Man, they do. It's so ridiculous to see the Usos. I can't wait to see what happens with the Bloodline. I absolutely cannot stand Solo Sikoa and the revamp nation of the new Bloodline. That crap sucks. I don't know what they were kind of thinking. I mean, I kind of seen it after Reigns lost at WrestleMania, but at the end of the day, Solo Sikoa as a tribal chief, he's kind of like a Samoan godfather to me at that point. I'll make them an offer they can't refuse. No, we're refusing it. Get the hell out of here. Uh, that's how I feel about it. Radical Toe Adam says, I think current WWE champion gets first class. At least that's the way it was back in the 80s, abounding to their interviews. Yeah, I do believe that's still correct, Adam. Absolutely. Going back into the match with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, I'm not sure if it was just me. Anybody else who has seen the Bash in Berlin, it was kind of slow paced. I seen some things through their match that seemed to be what they really did. Really looked scripted in the match, and maybe it was because I watched it on Peacock. So at the end of the day, when I look at that match, and I had to watch it a couple of times, there were points in that match where it was like they knew what they were supposed to do, because obviously they do some rehearsals, I'm sure, because it is semi-scripted. It's not completely scripted, because again, in that business, some things get real quick. And those are the type of things that WWE want to kind of keep out of the mind of the general public. Mochi Joneser says, when I was a kid, these guys looked like action figures. Absolutely. I completely agree. Rhea and Jade is my favorites. And look, I'm going to say this: Jade Cargill is the woman's version of Brock Lesnar to me. Um, and in semi suit, I kind of also compare her to Goldberg. Um, she's built. She's gorgeous. I think her wrestling status, as far as really knowing how to wrestle, I think she needs some work on that. She's good at what she does, but she's really more of a powerhouse. She's there just to kick ass and take some names at the end of the day. Um, Bianca Belair, on the other hand, that's a that's a powerhouse woman right there. She's not just got the moves; she's got the looks, she's got experience, and Jade definitely could learn a lot from Bianca Belair, and I hope she takes notes from her, because Jade Cargill could be more than what I see her as in the women's division. And again, she reminds me more of like Goldberg slash Steiner slash uh, but still is one of my favorites. And there's so much talent in the women's division, it's ridiculous. Uh, still going into the other wrestling matches that I seen. The Bash at Berlin was kind of slow paced, so I kind of had to watch it in two segments, because after the Rhea Ripley, uh, after the Terror Twins match, I fell asleep the first time. I was super tired. And then the second time I watched it, I got past the Terror Twins match and seen the uh, Jade Cargill Bianca Belair match, and I fell asleep again. I was just tired. It's been hot as I don't know what over here. But they do a lot. I think I lost my place in the chat. Haha, the Rickster. Hello, sir. How are you? Thank you for being here. Let's see here. I do admit Jacob Fatu is definitely a beast. Um, I don't think I like the type of character that he's playing. But it definitely, because again, Jacob Fatu, facial features wise, he reminds me of Haku. Um, and I guess maybe to that point, I wasn't a big fan of Haku back in the day, and that's really a shame. To tell you the honest to God truth, it's a shame, because I always thought uh, that Haku was one of those wrestlers. Uh, he was a powerhouse. He wasn't going to back down from anybody, and that's the way he was is in real life as well. But he has a certain aura about him. And Jacob Fatu, he's got that same aura. I I do like the way he wrestles. I think it's a little sloppy at points in time. But Jacob Fatu, he's a powerhouse. Again, I put him in that same spot as Jade Cargill. He's a powerhouse, but he's just a little sloppy. Gotta take a shower. Okay, well, um, don't do anything I wouldn't do in that shower. Anyway, uh, I mean, I guess in the 80s, they was eating steroids like Skittles, and they all died before they were 50. Absolutely. Steroids was big in the 80s. There was no uh, health plan, whatever. There was nothing to say they couldn't do that. But it's always something. Again, I still think that the kayfabe ended, and I can't say that enough. Kayfabe ended when Vince McMahon said, "Hey, we're entertainment. We're here to, of course, you're here to put on a show. Nobody really wants to get hurt. Nobody wants to get killed. There's many things in the wrestling world, the wrestling business, that you got to take in mind. These people are not superhuman. They get hurt, and they get hurt for real. I can't countlessly tell you how many times I've heard of wrestlers having to have back-to-back surgeries uh, just to uh, get things placed back in the same spots, or make them at least be able to have some more years in the business. It's literally destroying their bodies. Let's see. They're talking about Rick in the shower. That's funny. Let's see. Adam, I will be right there with you. I do miss Miss Elizabeth. She was classy. She brought something to WWF at that time that just wasn't there. And unfortunately, the things that happened in the wrestling industry between Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage, Miss Elizabeth was his for real wife, and I actually have the interview where Randy Macho Man Savage was talking about Miss Elizabeth, uh, and whatnot, whatever. He did not want to introduce her to the business that he was in because he knew how the business was. And he didn't want her getting involved, not necessarily with the element of the guys in the locker room, uh, but the element of the business. Because the element of the business, you 70s, 80s, early 90s, steroids, drugs, all over the place. That there there are videos out there on YouTube that spotlight uh, the professional wrestling people, that we looked up to as kids. They're in the back snorting a line of coke. They're in the back shooting something into their body. It's absolutely ridiculous. To me, why, if you can make all that money why would you spend your money on that? And then want to try to play it off as uh, this is what this is what that is, and that these people are against me and whatever else. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, you brought that darkness on yourself because you're the one doing the drugs and whatnot, whatever. So, in most cases, I look, I, I literally, I look at the things that they do in the ring, and I see some of the things that they do in real life behind the curtain, and not all of them, but there's a handful of them that are just not what they should be outside of the ring, and that's probably why they adopted a wellness program, which was a joke, by the way. Let's see here. Let me go further into the chat. Joneser speaking when I was talking about Haku. Haku was a legitimate badass. Absolutely, Haku was a legitimate badass. There are interviews out there where even the biggest liar in the WWE, WWF has stated Haku was one of those genuine badass people that you just didn't fuck with, and it didn't matter if you were outside the ring or inside the ring. Uh, Hogan says that there was a bar fight, and Haku actually put one of the bar attendees into that Tonga death grip and just held him there. And it took it took almost everybody in that bar to get that man off that dude. He was going to kill him, and they didn't want to see that happen. Uh, everyone feared him. Everyone respected him. Absolutely. There, there are certain people in that business that quite literally, you know, they might have a heart of gold, but if you poke that bear the wrong way, that bear's coming out, and that's a force you're just gonna hope doesn't come to you that day. Steroids is still big today. Look at Vince and today's wrestlers. Um, that's it's still true. There are still steroids being used in the WWE, AEW. I don't care where you're at. The Build-A-Bear project on juice is definitely still viable. Vince McMahon, that man's sick. Uh, and I don't mean just in the head, but he is literally sick. He is not doing very well at the moment. And that's even according to his wife, Linda. He's been kind of going downhill a lot lately. Everyone, please remember to like and sub if you aren't. The like button really does help. Thank you, Joneser. I appreciate that. I don't really, I do say that at the end of my videos for the most part, but at the end of the day, I appreciate everybody being here. That's great for the algorithm as well. Let's see. Master Mike says, most wrestlers are not big anymore, Rick. Most of them are smaller or fat. And that's true too. Again, you know, you've got, well, Otis. Otis is a big one that you could talk about. Who was I forget the wrestler that was just wrestling Braun Strowman. He's been absent for the last week. And he didn't show up at Bash at the Beach either. So kind of wondering about him. I see something in here in the chat about Haktua. Joneser. Let's see. So getting back into my wrestling, uh, the match between again Cody Rhodes and KO, I seen it going a little bit back to where Kevin Owens was trying to bring back that old Kevin Owens, and probably not allowed to uh, during the script because right now they're heavily invested in Cody Rhodes. And I'm not saying that Cody Rhodes, uh, I'm glad Cody Rhodes got to finish his story. I'm glad Cody Rhodes is still the world or universal champ. Uh, let let's be honest about that. I don't understand the universal champ and world champ, and you know, let's get let's get the belts back in order the way they should be, and please bring back the cruiserweights. I miss my luchador wrestling. Absolutely miss it. I don't know anything about Turkish wrestling. That's why I'm not talking about that. Uh, but apparently Master Mike does. Gross. Anyway, um, it's always fun to have fun. Let's poke the bear, right? Poke the bear. Joneser, you know about that. Poking the bear. Let's see. I'm putting it on the screen. Rickster says I have two hands. You open the door, I'm walking through it. It's to switch hands to gain an extra stroke. Um, anyway, Toy Mama is here. Hello, Christina. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Mochi Joneser says, rich man with all the money he'd never need. Of course, he is sick. He can pay anyone to do anything his sick mind wants. Yeah, I definitely agree on that. Um, Again, I applaud Vince for what he has done for wrestling, bringing it mainstream uh, to the point. Again, killing the uh, I guess you could call it indie circuits. But at the end of the day, they're not the territory circuits. That's kind of no. Uh, I liked having the circuits. I liked having. I still like watching some of the indie circuits. If you can catch them where they're at, I do have a program on the computer in which I can go to certain circuits, whatnot, whatever, and watch uh, some of their things that they have going on. It may not be televised, but it's definitely put on YouTube in some places, and then it's put on other media as well. So that that's always awesome. Anyway, um, going back to the next match that I remember watching was the Dirty Dom, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, Liv Morgan. I was actually happy to see Dominic and Liv literally get thrashed in the ring. Um, I was quite happy about that. I'm going to say that at the events of SummerSlam, I kind of seen it coming. I mean, it was predictable. Uh, and again, I don't see Liv Morgan carrying the women's championship too much longer. I do believe that Rhea Ripley is going to wind up getting that from her. Uh, and quite frankly, I will say this. When it comes to Liv Morgan, uh, I see her as to be rather boring. Um, at least what she's been portraying here lately, the whole revenge tour. Um, I'm gonna be happy to see the belt get stripped away from her. But I hope Ripley does it. Um, and again, I hope that I also hope that Damian Priest is able to get the world heavyweight title back. Um, I'm not sure, but I think that there is a U.S. title still, and if not, they need to bring that back. Uh, the IC title, I definitely like that. Some of the biggest names have had the IC title. Some of the biggest names have had the United States Championship as well. Um, Gunther and Randy Orton, what an what a spectacular match that was. That match I enjoyed literally watching that match in particular. Um, and to see the crowd in Berlin, in Germany, doing a wave uh, in 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 the show, and they televise that. Of course, how can you not televise that? Um, to see Randy Orton uh, literally start doing the wave with the crowd, that was awesome. And of course, here was the predictable part. There is no way that Gunther was going to lose the title. Not in Germany. Absolutely not. That would have been a smack in the face uh, at the Bash of Berlin. In the JS of the story, it was Finn and Liv all along that played Dom. I I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. LA Knight is the U.S. champ. It's on SmackDown. Okay, and that would explain why I don't have those pay for channels, so I don't have USA and I don't have the whatever titles. So wherever they stream at, I'm kind of stuck on watching it, watching snippets from YouTube when it comes to some of that. So I don't know too much about SmackDown anymore. I used to love watching SmackDown and Raw both. However, with Netflix getting Raw very very soon, um, I almost I kind of feel this way too. Raw has not been what Raw was meant to be. Raw was the Monday Night Wars. Raw has not been Raw kind of since the ending of the Attitude Era, beginning about the ending of 2010. Um, I haven't really enjoyed Raw as much. I expect more. The Rickster says Dark Side of the Ring doesn't get much recognition. It's an excellent show. I've watched a few episodes of the Dark Side of the Ring, and they do have a really good show, and I do watch. I've watched a few. I haven't watched all. I'm subscribed, but they do a good job at what they do. And Master Mike says, I like that show, Rick. Master Mike, I hope to see new episodes like Kamala. Kamala was a beast. Um, Stupendous wrestler. I definitely enjoyed that. Enjoyed watching him wrestle while he was with us. Motu Joneser says Dark Side of the Ring is epic and recommended. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Next Friday, SmackDown is moving to the USA Network. Yeah, and see, I still won't be able to watch it. I don't have the USA Network. I went from cable to streaming and haven't looked back since. So if they what here's what I think they ought to do. They ought to put everything on Peacock, or they ought to put everything on Netflix, and I would be happy with that because I have both of those. Joneser says, I remember the Raw music in 1998. Man, that would get me so pumped. Man, I loved the music not only to Raw, but I also loved the music to SmackDown from that era. Let's see. The app is not free for me, sir. I have to pay for that USA Network app. It's more than I want to pay. So getting back into the Bash at Berlin. Let me see. Need a Dark Side episode on Brian Christopher. That would be interesting. That would be very, very interesting. Brian Christopher was one of them guys that that would just be really interesting to watch. Oh wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, unfortunately, for where I'm at, the USA Network, if I have Roku and I also have a Fire Stick, and even on my Amazon Fire Stick, I've got to pay for it. I mean, I guess I could jailbreak it and uh, get my channels for free. And Master Mike agrees. And Mochi Joneser says, I met him. Oh, that would have been really cool. I've got to meet a few wrestlers in my time. I think probably my most favorite of wrestlers that I got to meet was the Junkyard Dog. And that was back in the days of still wrestling at the Chase back in those days. I was real young, but I definitely remember seeing him because he was one of my favorite wrestlers. Him and Dick the Bruiser, George the Animal Steel. Uh, those were some really great wrestlers. Uh, if you if you know anything about wrestling history, go back and watch some of those matches. Those those names I just brought up, absolutely amazing wrestlers. They did some kind really kind of hardcore stuff back in those days. Uh, I remember the debut of Hercules back in those days. Let's see. He was all fucked up. It was kind of sad to see, sad, but he was nice enough to beat me up on request. He died or was killed, depending on what you believe. Shortly after that, um, you know, some of the things that happen off behind the curtains with these wrestlers. Um, Bruno, not I want to say San Martino, but I think I'm wrong. Uh, he was the wrestler that he was found murdered by his wife and kid when they came home. Somebody had came in. He was doing like some cigarette smuggling from like the mafia or some shit. Uh, Kind of stupid reason to kill people. But he was a decent wrestler, and I liked watching him wrestle. Let's see, Ravishing Rick Rude would make another great episode. That I definitely agree with as well. Ravishing Rick Rude was an amazing wrestler. He was an amazing talent. I'm definitely, uh, I was definitely saddened when I had heard about his when I heard about his death. Uh, he was a talent that up until the point that let's see, I forget who his biggest rival was. Um, and then at the same time, you also got to figure, uh, yeah, Motu Joneser says Mr. Perfect and Davy Boy. Yeah, back in the day when the British Bulldogs were together as well. It was Davy Boy Smith, and I forget what his. I think it was his brother that he was wrestling with. Could have been his cousin. I don't remember exactly. But they had. There was so much amazing talent back in the day. There's amazing talent today, but I don't look at them and see them to be as hard core as they were back when I was growing up compared to I'm all grown up and I see what I see now. It's kind of like watching. It's kind of like what I've said about football and hockey. They're gladiator sports, and somewhere, some way, somehow, these sports got dumbed down and pussified, and now I've just kind of I care to watch it or I don't care to watch it. I'm good either way. Rickster says, I'm sure all the female he chose to kiss worked for the WWE. That's a possibility. Um, that is a possibility. But it really could have been random people. Razor Ramon, the Dynamite Kid. Let's see. Me and Kevin Nash was talking when I met him. and I asked him about Scott. He wasn't talking about Scott. Uh, he wasn't talking about Scott. A few hours later, he passed away. Scott Hall did. Um, yeah, and you know, um, that was actually really disheartening because Scott Hall had cleaned himself up under with the help of DDP, and I'm sure there's others involved in that. Uh, but I remember back in the WCW days and early WWE days, Scott Hall could barely walk to the ring because he was so fucked up. And it was saddening because that man, so much talent, had so much talent that at the end of the day, that talent, um, he wasted it on an addiction. And addictions are real. Um, it's not a joke. It's not a laughing matter. Um, when you do things like me, I have an addiction to cigarettes. So um, I I know what it's like. If I don't at least have a cigarette in a day, I'm an asshole. Um, no doubt, because I have to have that rush of nicotine. I don't like the nicotine gum. I don't like the. I can't do the patches because they break me out. Um, Scott Hall was so good at his craft, and I remember his debut coming out. He was phenomenal. He was something to be reckoned with, and he was definitely the best heel. His portrayal of Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, you know, amazing. I absolutely love Scott Hall. Um, and as far as Kevin Nash, mm, I didn't really care for him when he was Diesel. Uh, I think the only time I really got into Kevin Nash was when he was Black and Red NWO, the Wolf Pack, uh, and that was kind of okay as far as Kevin Nash goes. Personally, I liked Conan better than I liked Kevin Nash, and Conan wasn't shit. Just saying. He was good in AWA as Big Scott Hall. I think I I think I think Scott Hall was good everywhere he went. That's funny because Bash said his best years was Diesel. I disagree. well, okay, yeah. Here, this was the best years of Diesel. He had the goatee, he had the stupid leather jacket type thing going on, and he had the sunglasses, and he just walked down the ring, and that was before he actually got into doing the wrestling. Those were his best years. He should have left the rest of the shit alone. Nash was the best as Oz. Cut it out. Um, let's see. He wasn't happy as Red and Black. Now he hated it. He told. I don't. I I honestly, when it comes to the NWO, I liked the black and white when it first came out. It was gritty. It was raw, and I liked it. Then as it started getting a little bit deeper, further along, you had Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, um, and a few other guys that came in there. Lex Luger, and some other crap, right? And they kept trying to recruit Sting. James Borden, I think is his name. Uh, he would have been okay in the black and white NWO, but that was not his thing. So I agree with. In fact, I liked better what Sting did as the Crow Sting more than I would have ever liked to see him in NWO. I'm so glad, seriously ecstatic that he never joined the black and white. Let's see. The tag team, the Outsiders, was the best thing Nash was part of. I will agree with that. Absolutely. The Outsiders Edge, Scott Hall had, and then he had that big ass power bomb. You know, I think that's the only time I actually liked Kevin Nash. Him and Scott Hall together as the Outsiders. Uh, he wanted to leave the WWF. He turned down $30 million, and Scott Hall asked him to join if he could double the money for him. And Nash said, "I don't know." Then said 60 million. See you soon. Hmm. I think all of these wrestlers have a lot of stories. Um, Kevin Nash is he's no Hogan, but I also think in a lot of ways, and I think this about a lot of everything. There are three sides to every story. There's this side, and the truth. And I don't think the truth is really told by either side. The truth is filtered somewhere in the middle. So you've got to pick and choose what really sticks and what's actual. He wanted to stay in WWF for life. Well, see, and I kind of would probably believe that, but I think more on this line. If you could get paid double of what you're getting paid by one entity compared to the entity that you're going to, because I know this of Vince McMahon, he might pay certain people. Hell, look at what he did for Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, I could not stand Shawn Michaels. Of course, and again, I didn't like Triple H when Triple H, before he was the game, when he was just Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I didn't like Triple H then. I didn't really get into Triple H until about the Attitude Era. That's when he actually kind of started to pop to me. Shawn Michaels, he was an arrogant, drunk, drugged, SOB to me. I didn't like and and I can say this about Hogan as well because there's a lot of politics in the back locker room, a lot of politics, and I think that even when you think I don't care necessarily about whether or not you're bringing the money in. Hogan had what? How many appearances in WrestleMania? And when he became, I think it was WrestleMania 4, that he wasn't really the top billing guy at that point. Um, he kind of tried to play his backstage politics, and it worked to his advantage. And then, of course, later on, when he knew that that shit was dead and Vince wasn't having it anymore, uh, you know, that's when Hogan decided, hey, I'm going to go look for the next best thing. I'm playing some stupid, cheesy movies and TV shows. Let me do this part in Rocky 3. Let me go. And, and Vince tried to make that not happen because he was signed into a contract with Vince McMahon. I have never met Kevin Nash, but I know what his build height is in WWE. That he he's a tall dude. Um, I don't know if he's really all that buff, but Jamie looked funny next to Nash. uh, I wish I had some of the pictures that I had taken with some wrestlers back in the day. I don't know what happened to those. Like all my mom's picture albums disappeared after she passed away. I think my dad just got rid of them and chucked them. Um, I don't know. Who knows? 5 foot tall, 6'11" to Nash. Oh yeah, Nash was almost 7 foot, right? Let's see. He was very smart as to what match needs to do better. Needs to be better. Um, who are you talking about, Joneser? Jamie says, I didn't even know it was him. I was like, this guy is tall. And Mike was like, that's Nash. I could, I guess I could kind of see that. Oh, I remember that match so totally. That the finger poke of death. Uh, in fact, that go on YouTube. You can watch that whole stupid ass fiasco uh, as it went down. Give me a break. I hell, I remember when Shawn Michaels did that. Well, I forget who he was fighting, who he was wrestling. I think it was Bret Hart that he was wrestling. So like every move that Bret Hart did, uh, Michaels like completely kept overselling the move, whatnot, whatever, flipping out of the ring. He'd get tossed into the ring ropes. He'd flip out of the ring. He'd get hit from one end of one corner and wind up flying into the other corner. Again, Shawn Michaels to me wasn't good until DX. I never really wanted to pay Shawn Michaels any kind of attributations until DX. Uh, are you ready? But at the end of the day, uh, these people can make you change your heart to uh, who they are, what they are. Back, okay, yeah, Michaels may have been always high and drunk, and he was an asshole. And it was finally told to him by some very, very close friends of his, dude, you're an asshole. Get off that shit. That he finally decided to change his ways. Uh, from what I know, he's a born again Christian, whatnot, whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, there are things that make you look away from certain wrestlers because, again, the Ultimate Warrior wasn't one of my fan favorites. Uh, I could appreciate that he became world champion off Hulk Hogan, but I think it was done the wrong way. But then again, at the same time, the Ultimate Warrior was not. He could have been the face of WWF at the time, but I don't think he was interested in being the face. He just wanted everything to be about him, and that's not how the program works. I agree because I loved Bret Hart. I miss Owen. I wish Owen was around today. I wish Jim the Anvil was still around today. The Hart Foundation was one of those entities, the stable, I absolutely loved. Um, see what the Rickster says. The Rickster says Shawn Michaels was hit with Vince and was hit on. I can't read that. Shawn was on the hit with Vince and to screw Brett. You, I think now this is just my personal belief. Don't crucify me, but the whole Montreal screw job, I do believe, was Bret Hart's fault. And here's why I say this. Bret Hart knew his contract was getting ready to end. He knew Vince wasn't going to pay him the money that he wanted. So when he threatened Vince that when my contract ends and I'm still the world champion, I'm taking it with me. First of all, never let them know what you're going to do. They will screw you. So that was Bret's fault. Vince did it the smart way, and it wasn't necessarily Shawn that screwed him, it was the referee that screwed him. That was set up by Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon was going to win either way. No matter what the outcome of that match was, Bret Hart was going to lose because Bret Hart should have never told Vince his intentions with that belt. He would have went to WCW with the World Federation title like Ric Flair did when he came to the WWF, when the AWA didn't pay him back the $25,000 for the belt being in his possession. He said, "Okay, well, when you pay me the $25,000 for the belt, then you'll and I get my $25,000 back, you'll get your belt back. Until then, fuck you." I wholeheartedly agree with that. Let's see. Rocky 3 was before WWF, if I'm not mistaken. No, that happened during. That's That's the whole reason why they got Mr. T in WrestleMania, because he was a celebrity, and this is also how that whole Roddy Piper versus Mr. T, whatnot, whatever, because he didn't like seeing people that didn't have the status or the know-how, whatnot, whatever, in the wrestling business. How can you get top billing just because you're a celebrity? And I agree and I don't agree uh, with that with Roddy Piper. I agree because of the wrestling status. You probably shouldn't have you got put into the limelight because you're Hulk Hogan's partner. Um, and of course, that's why Vince McMahon brought Mr. T to WWF at that time, because Mr. T was that celebrity. Um, he had more of a Mr. T is actually a Golden Gloves boxer at some point, I do believe. I might be wrong on that, Jones, or you can correct me on that. You've got more of the boxing knowledge than I do. But at the end of the day, uh, Roddy Piper he wasn't having that crap. Let's see. Yeah, and Vince definitely owned WWE before '83. Let's I forgot. Rickster, who used to call him that, the ultimate meatball. uh, I wish we did still the the last of the little people that we had. I don't want to go off key and call them midgets. We'll call them little people. I don't think they really like being called midgets. But at the end of the day, Hornswoggle was like one of the last ones that we had in the WWE. And I like the characterization, but if I remember correctly, it was Doink that brought the little people into the wrestling domain. I think maybe not for the first time, but for the first time in a long time when he introduced Dink and the other clowns. Um, Actually, I'd like to see a Dink figure, action figure, so I could put them with my Doink action figure. That would be that would be cool. Um, let's see. Do, 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 do. He did business wrong. Warrior did he went into business for himself? Yeah, because really, the Ultimate Warrior was he was definitely all about himself. I think that's the only thing that I can say that I did not like about the Ultimate Warrior. He definitely wasn't going to sell somebody. Um, who Medusa famously dumped the WWF Women's Championship in the trash on WCW. I don't remember that. I'm going to have to go back and watch that. I do remember when Medusa quit, uh, walked away from WWF. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of that was due to who was the old lady that ran the women's division in WWF? Damn, what's her name? moolah. We can all agree Vince was the mastermind behind the screw job. Oh, absolutely. But again, Rick, that was Bret Hart's fault too, because again, you don't let the enemy know what you're fixing to do. You just do it. Vince just liked to screw and use people as bathrooms. How how true is that? I don't. Me particularly, I don't know. I can say I know a couple of self-made millionaires because they're in the family. Um, but at the end of the day, it's far and few in between. In fact, these two family members will tell you very, very legitimately, there's not a single person that has made the money they've made without it being dirty in some way, shape, fashion, or form. Rowdy and Wonderful thought Mr. T hadn't paid his due with the years of wrestling. That's very true, Rickster. You know, that would kind of, I see their point. Um, Rowdy Piper was very outspoken. Kevin Paul Orndorff was not uh, going to take that sitting down either because Piper and Orndorff kind of really thought alike. That wasn't something Piper had to beat into his head. That was like, well, you don't know anything about the wrestling business, so how are you getting top billing just because of who your partner is? Piper claimed as such too. Both were A-class bullshitters, so who knows? Uh, true, very true, Joneser. However, I can still say that between Orndorff and Piper, uh, I don't think a lot of people want to say it was a racial thing that they didn't like Mr. T because of a racial difference, whatever. I don't think that was it at all. Um, I don't even want to bring that crap up, but I just did. Uh, but the fact of the matter is, the due diligence of the time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears these wrestlers put into their craft, whether it be entertainment, whether it be we're out here brawling for a gold belt, experience, and then you have somebody come in because of a celebrity status, get top billing. It it kind of takes away from what the hell did I do for the past 10 years, and so I do kind of agree. And then at the same time, there's there's a little bit less pushback because that's probably what was good for business at the time. I might be wrong. Joneser says they still do midget wrestling here. The next time they do midget wrestling, I want you to video tape it and put it on YouTube, sir. Little Beaver got squashed by King Bundy. I never saw any of them again. I'm I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about there, Rickster, but you can even pay more and get to throw one. Midget tossing, fun for the whole thing. I personally know a midget wrestler. Oh, that's awesome. Um, hey, look, at, at, at the end of the day, I always thought it was fun to see Dink. If I remember correctly, it was Dink the Clown, and whatever other midget wrestlers Doink had on his side versus Jerry Lawler and the little midget kings that he had with him. Um, and that wrestling match is classic, and it's always fun to watch. It's always funny to watch. Uh, I enjoy it. I actually have uh, a copy of that taken from YouTube uh, on that, but it's it's a great match to watch. We're gonna go to the shots fired. One time, Mike thought I was a midget. No idea why. I, yep, y'all have. Wow. Let's see. Going back into the wrestling as well. What did you all think? For those of you that seen the Bianca Belair Jade Cargill match at Bash at Berlin, I thought it was actually pretty good. I knew that they weren't going to let Belair tag Cargill in for a long, long time. So seeing what Cargill did again at the end to win the women's championship, tag team championship belts, uh, I'm definitely glad it's in their hands again. Um, but I'm also seeing something else, and it's been rumored, it's been talked about. I would like to see Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. That would be an outstanding match. Um, I think that if back in the day, if we still had China in China's prime, I would like to see China versus Jade Cargill. Um, but it's been rumored Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair, either by WrestleMania or just after the next WrestleMania. Um, what do y'all think about that? Let's see here. Where am I at? One person that doesn't get any recognition for putting it out there, Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, and the Eye of the Tiger song that was started the WWE hype is Stallone. I can't say that Sylvester Stallone did a whole lot of anything. WWE, WWF had already had its platform really set before the whole Mr. T thing. WrestleMania 1, that was the beginning of this monster company that we have and see today. Did I go back into something? I see the Rickster talking about Little Beaver again. Little Beaver fought King Kong Bundy in WrestleMania 3. He almost killed the poor fella. This was the moment I noticed they weren't putting any midget wrestlers in WWE. I don't remember that offhand. I'll have to go back into my archives and take a look at that. Thank you for giving me something to look at, Rick. It was always it was good. It was good. Glad they got the belts back. I missed something. Jones or Mike Bill Lack would have been great in the WWE with their weird personalities, except Jeff. He would make a good referee. I think I kind of agree with you on that, Rick. Jamie says my kids didn't like the Bash and Berlin matches much, and my daughter said the best match was Rhea versus Liv. I'm going to agree and disagree with that. I think that the Dirty Dom, Damian Priest, Liv versus Rhea Ripley match, I think it was a decent enough match. Again, after seeing that match a few times, I'm going to have to go off of what Mike has said a few times before to me. Liv really wasn't ready for this version of Rhea Ripley. This version of Rhea Ripley was unhinged, off the chain, and deservedly so. I will go back to your comment, sir. Let's see. Before Rocky 3, where was wrestling at their level? Practically off the radar until Vince saw Rocky 3 and probably was said, I'm cashing in on that. I'm going to say Vince had already probably pretty much cashed in on that because it was Hulk Hogan. I don't see Hulk Hogan coming up with the name Thunder Lips on his own. Hogan is, to me, not that bright. Even though that's not a bright light name, but maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. Sure, there'll be a lie out there somewhere about it surfacing sometime soon. Who knows? Kind of like the latest lie that Hogan said, which I can attest to. There are a lot of wrestling fans that still cannot stand nor want to hear the name Chris Benoit. And Hogan apparently said in his latest interview that if fans can forgive a man for the crap that he did to his wife and kids, I'm pretty sure they can forgive me for my uh, racial slurs. Uh, the wrestling fans out there are still not out there. They, I think of it like this: Benoit, for the wrestler he was, they will give him his attributes. For how his life finished, according to documented and stuff that should have been documented, that wasn't documented, and what we know, and all of what we don't know. How the whole tragedy of Chris Benoit and his family happened. God rest all their souls. Uh, Even though I follow that case still today and it's closed and it should be reopened, uh, the fans are not ready to forgive and probably will never forgive uh, for what we know supposedly or unsupposedly happened in the Benoit household. Sorry to say. Uh, Off that topic, they're not going to forgive Hogan either. Uh, it's happened one too many times. And if that's how Hogan really is, then that's how Hogan really is. I'll give him his attributes for what he's done for wrestling and what he's done for his his lineage in the ring. But other than that, I'm cool on Hogan. I ain't got no place for that shit in my life. Mike V says, glad Jade and Bianca got the belts back. Jade and Bianca Belair should have never lost those belts in the first place. That's how I feel about it. But at the end of the day, it happened. They got them back. Woohoo! Um, let's see. Always wanted to be a bad guy wrestler. Um, my friends and I, when I was growing up, we used to do some crazy crap. I'm a Gen Xer. We all, as Gen Xers, probably did crazy crap. I remember we would set up in my backyard or in my friend's backyard when our parents were not home. We would bring mattresses, old box springs uh, outside and put them in the backyards. And we would do our versions of backyard wrestling back when it was cool. And I used to go off the. So we had a second story bathroom that was on the second floor of our house, and I would get off onto the back porch roof, which was kind of in the middle, not quite the second floor, but it was in the middle, in between. But it was a good 12, 13 feet off the ground. I mean, you had to have a ladder to get up on that roof anyway. But we would set up the box springs and mattresses, and we would screw around. And we'd do wrestling there. And I know I decided one day that I was going to go up on, I had already had it set up on the opposite side of the house where it wasn't seen by anybody, any of my friends. And we'd sit there, we'd like body slam each other, whatnot, whatever, do all the whatevers. And I got up on that second story roof there, just the back porch roof, basically. Um, and I decided I was going to do a Chris Benoit diving headbutt on my friend's chest. First of all, that was a mistake. I hurt my neck. I almost knocked myself out. I hurt my friend pretty badly. I almost broke his ribs because I actually landed wrong. Um, but it was funny, and I mean it. You know, if I had recorded half the crap that I did when I was a kid and just now put it on YouTube, my ass would be so viral it'd be retarded. Joneser says I can talk mad smack. Yeah, you know what? I definitely agree. Probably don't have an answer, Lowell. I can see that Joneser, you would make a great heel. He would, and I agree with Jamie. It would be too funny to see you wrestling, um, because we'd be too diehard laughing at the crap that came out of your mouth. It's funny. Hogan was fired before making Rocky 3 by Vince Sr. He was asked back by Junior after the movie. That might have, you know, you're probably right on that, Rickster. In fact, I'm pretty much going to say you're right on that because that sounds about right. Because I know there was some turmoil about Hogan doing that movie and whatnot, whatever, and Hogan decided to do that. I can be a piper for your live show. Joneser went to bed. He's old. He's still here, Rick. And yes, he's old. So am I. It's 11:29. Wow. Uh, we did a 20-man over the top rope match on someone's rooftop, and there was a funny story behind this. I want to hear that story, sir. I want to hear that story. You can't trick the Rick. Yeah, it was bad. I can't say when these wrestlers say that the concussions that they get from some of these moves, they're not lying. Um, I don't think I don't think that if I'm going to say this, if Chris Benoit had never used the diving headbutt uh, 364 days a year in every match upon taking chair shots to the head, things might have turned out a whole lot differently in the Chris Benoit story. So I don't just hold Chris Benoit for what allegedly happened or didn't allegedly happen. I also hold the wrestling industry at that point too, because somebody's got to be held accountable besides the wrestler. At the end of the day, you know, they held the NFL accountable for all brain damages and whatnot, whatever, for the strikes with the helmets and whatnot, whatever. This is why they had to do something different with the helmets. This is why, you know, but at the end of the day, through the autopsy, this man had the brain of an 85-year-old Alzheimer's patient. And then at the same time, you know, some besides the person performing these moves, there's got to be a line drawn. Because at the same time, guess who else used the diving headbutt? And he's no longer wrestling, Daniel Bryan. But he's not getting. At this point, there's been the wellness program, which has probably saved him from the same damage that Chris Benoit had at the end of the day. And truly, even after the autopsy on the brain of Chris Benoit, he wouldn't have been around but maybe another 10 months anyway. There was so much lateral and linear damage to his brain that he would have been dead in 10 months. And that's coming from doctors, not just scientists. So we were going to lose Benoit either in 2007 or 2008. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Those are unfortunate facts. Whether it happened by his hand, someone else's hand, or the good Lord's hand. At the end of the day, who can say? We did some wrestling. We bought a fake WWE belt from Walmart. We did some of that crap and would fight each other for it. I still do some of that today, but not in the manner of physically. So like we'll get on the PlayStation 3 and we'll play some wrestling on that, and whoever has create a character has the belt at the end of whatever we were doing goes home with the belt. I still have the belt. um, let's see. Yes, I am damn right. Let's see. I even played a heel when we had said belt. When I had it, I talk mad smack heel promo and then forgot to bring the belt in class. I lost and claim I lost. I could see you doing that, Jonesy. This eventually got my ass kicked. We didn't fight for real, but we did smack the shit out of each other. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that growing up back in the '80s, and I grew up in the late. I'm a '72 baby, so come '78, early '80s. Yeah, we used to smack the crap out of each other. All through that. Daniel Bryan just won the AEW World Title. You know what? I forgot he is in AEW now. I thought he had actually retired. So I guess AEW went ahead and hired him in, even though his medical criteria really shouldn't allow him. Um, hmm. But if you forgot it at home and kept talking shit and told folks, oh yeah, I'll be here with it tomorrow and I'll whoop your ass. See what that got you, Jonesy. For a wrestling match, we decided to climb on the rooftop of this abandoned house as kids. For 5 years, there has been no sign of life in that house. We were a group of 15 kids on that roof. I think that would have probably been fun to watch. Then tomorrow, forget but say I don't need no belt to whoop your ass. Ain't that the truth? So yeah, Bash at Berlin, there were some, as with any spectacle, uh, Bash at Berlin had its ups, had its downs. Um, I enjoyed the matches. You could see just some predictability of what was going to happen before it happened. I think there were some slowdowns that I described in the Cody Rhodes Kevin Owens match. It was like they just kind of in some spots uh, let it be seen that there was some things that were going to be the way they were. The Rickster says, plus the roof caved in. We end up on the second level below. Nobody doing upkeep on that said house that was abandoned. It's sure to happen. Glad none of y'all got seriously injured. But yeah, again, the Bash at Berlin was a pretty good thing. I know they're getting ready to do, what is the next pay per view? None of the new pay per views are going to be done here in the States. They're all going to be overseas. I know that they are getting ready to do another one in Saudi Arabia. I don't know why, after the problems they had in Saudi Arabia last time. I hope it works out for them. Good night, Joneser. Thank you for being here. I'm getting ready to pull the plug on this live and see everybody on another adventure. Mike says Bad Blood is next. That's right. You're right. Bad Blood is next. I'm pretty sure that's going to be directed more at the Bloodline at this point. Who knows? Oh, I'm not going to go to sleep, Rick. Actually, what I'm going to do is when I get off of this, I'm going to make my thumbnail for this video, and then I'll probably edit some of this in YouTube Studio, and then after that, I'll be working on another video that I've been trying to work on, and just haven't had the I've had the time, just haven't felt like doing it. I don't know. I get like that sometimes. Where is it? It's somewhere under here. I've been saying that I was going to do my Muhammad Ali WWE Superstars unboxing. Probably could have unboxed a couple on this, but really wasn't what I was intending to do for this one. Let's see. You guys are old. Sleep, really? Yes, eventually. Um, I do feel this very same way. I'm going to be 52 this year. Um, I'll get plenty of that when I am, uh, but I won't be in a box. I'll be ashes. So, at the end of the day, my next video and or live will be Muhammad Ali. Then I don't know. I'll probably unbox a turtle. British Bulldog. One never knows what this channel will bring. Hell, I still have to do the second half of the second scenario to Resident Evil 2, Claire's second scenario. For those of you who don't know, I have if you play Resident Evil, if you play Claire's version, disc 2, before you play Leon's version, the story absolutely changes. So like they kind of begin and end the same way, but they are so different and so much changes, and it's just little tidbits. And I will eventually do all 4 versions of that, but I got to go and do Claire's second scenario behind Leon's. So I hope y'all will join me for that when I do that. I'll probably do that next week. Master Mike says he's working on a music video. That's going to be awesome, sir. Can't wait to see it. I've done a few little new musical formulas. Oh, you know what? I just thought about this, and I don't know why. Of everybody that was in here, someone I did not see here that I see in everybody else's stream. I'm going to say it now. Where the hell is Perry? Anyway, I will see everybody on the next show. If you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment after the video is done. It all helps the algorithm of the channel. I appreciate it. Everyone, please take care of each other and yourselves. Going with a little Jerry Springer there. Anyway, end of the day, I love y'all. I will see y'all on the next one. Have a great evening, y'all. Early morning.